Beloved mighty companions, thank you for bringing your blessed holy presence to this circle every day. It's just so touching in the heart, and to be in truth together in the light of divine being and reminding each other of how precious we really are, and how that voice within does lead us home. And Jesus fulfills every promise that he's given in A Course in Miracles, beyond the beyond. And so today we start with the light of infinite being, who we are, and see what's untouched by time or space. Does the infinite light of being know what time is? Can we find time in infinite light of being? Can we find space as experience in infinite light of being? Is there anything other than peace in the infinite light of being and our direct experience as light beings? So we start with light always, infinite power, light training, to see that we're light, to see the benevolence of the light, that the light is so benevolent. It's always here, yet it's benevolent, because the ego is a thought that there's not benevolence, that hatred is real, that death is real, and the light of divine being and honesty of God is hatred real? Is death real? Can we find death in light? This is such a direct means given by love to look at these lessons, these thoughts of God. Lesson 239. The glory of my Father is my own. Glory. The question is, are we willing to see that the glory of the Father is our own? Is there any hesitation? Will you show me any hesitation to see directly the glory of the Father, which is mine? Yeah, Jesus has really been, well, as he promised, very helpful at looking at the denials of glory, to look so directly at the desire for attack. Show me the desire for being fully present with attack, which denies the glory of the Father. We can ask, is attack a function within consciousness to deny the glory of the Father? And hear what divine light says. That desire for the experience of attack. And to go until Jesus says we've completely, and it's just so powerful and so fast what he's offering us now. To see that we're light, to see that the light's so benevolent, and then ask him, okay, show me, what do I need to see? And then we know the areas because he points to them in A Course in Miracles, that desire for attack. And to be so present with that desire for attack that it just arises so fully into awareness. And so we can just fully admit it. Yes, there's energy below my level of awareness. Allow it to come into awareness, and so that it can just fully, it's no longer hidden from our sight. How badly attack is desired. It doesn't take, at least the experience here, it doesn't take one round. It takes quite a number. I was amazed. Okay, Jesus, is there more? Yes. We're all seeing, okay, Jesus. Oh, I feel it. Oh, I want that attack. And I say, Jesus, okay, so is there more? And he go, yes. And I go, okay, give it to me. And how powerful it is to sit with him just in silence. And you just watch, and I know what your experience is. You just watch that mind want to ping off and not do, we really need his help to ping off and not look directly at these energetic desires. Like, all of a sudden, as I said, you're thinking about, wonder if I'm going to make pizza, bread, when's so-and-so coming over for dinner, anything not the, and how we have to evoke the power of divine being, our worthiness and value to see every one of these energies so directly. Okay, show me the power. I really, where that energy is to usurp and duke it out with God. Really, just because it cuts the story out. There's no story about it. There's just a straight on. If you notice, we can spend so much time in the story trying to find, okay, where is it and what's the belief, and trying to hand it over for forgiveness. And this is like, he's cutting right to the core. Okay, go. I see it. I see there's divine light. I see there's benevolence. I see there's nothing to be afraid of. So this is speed. The need for speed. This is just speed. Okay, I admit it. I just really want to usurp the power of God and just fully be with usurping the power. He says it's there, I try it's there. And then you'll just feel the energy. That's experience here. It's like, oh my gosh, I want to usurp the power of God so badly. Like so bad. But at least it's like front and center, right? It's so front and center. Let not the truth about ourselves today be hidden by false humility. Wow. False humility. Jesus, show me false humility. False humility, saying, is arrogance, the denial of light. Yeah, we know this. It's so beautiful that we all know it. It's like the one thing we can agree on: divinity and denial of divinity. And just put it all and just see it together. Okay, right. It's there. And just to be so innocent in it and playful in it. Sometimes it doesn't feel playful, but really be playful in the looking. Oh, that's so much love, Jesus says. Really be intent, not a sideways play, because play can sometimes really hide what we're truly kind of, it's an avoidance. But this is like, okay, I'm willing to look now with the power of the divine light given me by the Father. Let not the truth about ourselves today be hidden by a false humility. I'm willing to see where there's a false humility. Jesus, is there a desire for experience of false humility to hide the light from myself? And you show me where that is. Let us instead be thankful for the gifts our Father gave us. Yeah. You can see how false humility or arrogance is going to really hide those gifts. Does false humility and the light of divine being hide our gifts? It hides gratitude. Can we see that in the light of divine being, how it really hides gratitude? Can we see in those with whom he shares his glory any trace of sin and guilt? In the light of divine being, can we see in those with whom he shares his glory any trace of sin and guilt? Can we find sin and guilt anywhere in the light of divine being? Can we find sin in ourselves? In the light, there's no sin. Is there anything to forgive in the light of divine being? Then we must accept our power to see through all these errors of thought. That's acceptance of light, is to be willing to see through the error of the thoughts. And can it be that we are not among them when he loves his son forever and with perfect constancy? In the light of divine being and honesty of God, does God love his son forever? Can we find a way in the light of divine being that he doesn't? He says, I'm cutting you off. You get 3 months and it's over for you. I'm refusing to love you. Can we find that in the light of divine being? Let's ask if we wanted that desire for that experience to feel like we're cut off. Jesus, is there any desire to feel like I'm cut off from the love of God? I'm willing to see it directly and place it gently in the light. Just recognize it in the light. Just see the no energy. No. Let's see how long it lasts. The light of divine being. It's really funny when we see that even if we say no and yell it, off the top of a roof for hours, the light's still here. Oh, the light's still here. He's just pointing. He's really been working God dependency. You can see all these things come up in consciousness. And sometimes it can feel like shredding, but you can see that that is just that hanging on to the world, to be dependent on the world, and see that that is death, the death of hanging on to what does not exist. In the light of divine being, does infinite light need to hang on to anything? Does the light of infinite being lack clarity? I mean, when we look in there, because we can say, okay, this is another good one too that comes up. Is the light of divine being confused about anything? Is it confused? Is it disoriented? Because that is, as the ship goes flipping up, it can feel disorienting. But if we stay as the light, are we disoriented? Is the light, we can always go back. Wait, is the light disoriented? Does the light not know something? Because that's another trick. Here's another trick in consciousness. Oh, I don't know. Does the light not know? You see that we can play like I don't know. That's face of innocence play. Can we see that really clearly? It's so helpful to look at these things and see them. That's face of innocence. See the face of innocence going, oh, I really don't know what Jesus is saying. It's innocent. So we see it as innocent. Okay, but we can recognize it in ourselves. It's not our function to go out and say, well, unless Jesus tells us. Sometimes he tells us to be direct. And I think I talked about that movie, which is for me. I can only imagine where the stage manager comes up and really, or the tour manager comes up and gives them the direct. It was so beautiful. There's something you need to see here. There's something you're running from. You need to look at this. If Jesus gives us that guidance, because it's not for another being, it's for ourselves. It's the reminder to ourselves. Here's what you need to look at. Okay, I'm willing. So it's not to find error in a brother, it's to serve the totality, honesty of God. So we're not fixing anyone, we're just following divine light, expression of divinity. Again, what a beautiful movie. I may do a review on that movie because it's so, I think we will. Actually, that feels very sparky just to look deeply with Jesus at that movie and that movement all the way from the grievance against the Father all the way to divine expression. It's really beautiful. The miracle movement of the miracle through us. Let us instead be thankful for the gifts of our Father gave us. Can we see in those whom he shares his glory any trace of sin? This is a really great one. To see the contrast. This helps so much with contrast, like looking with the light at every brother. We can let Jesus bring brothers to mind and really focus on the light with the light of divine being at the brother. Can we see error when we look as divine light? So that we have that contrast when they're doing something that's really ticking us off. We can see where we're denying ourselves. Oh, I want that experience of tick off. That's the glory of God, that admission right there. I want that experience. Show me. Show me how I want to feel attacked. So then I defend. See that? I want to defend so bad, like that itch, the defend itch, the itch for attack and the itch, how deep those go. But if those are followed all the way and seen through, so much light, so much lightness of being, there's such a toll on, I mean, not that anything can happen to being, but in terms of the expression of divinity, it's like you can't express if we're holding on and carrying around 700 pounds of weight on our chest, which all these beliefs are, these desired experiences. Then we're pinging off of everything. You know, it's like that pisses me off, and then that pisses me off, and then this pisses me off, and that, and that. Jesus, will you bring to mind as I'm divine light, anything into awareness that's denying the light that I can see with the light, and see the simplicity of clearing it. Any brother, bring any brother to mind that I need to see with pure divine light. Just place that so gently in the light. And can it be, and then myself, the image of myself as an object, placing that, the picturing, the outpicturing of the body even, and placing that conceptual body thing in the light of divine being, whatever that is, because we have all kinds of idea of what it is. Just put the whole thing in infinite light. Any self-image. So that that image that we're holding can be seen fresh. Is there any loss in putting our self-concept in that light? Can we find a loss? Because that's the convincer. Convincers, you're just going straight to hell if you like put this in. The light's going to take you to hell. That's the whole egoic thought system. And the divine light of being, is the light taking anybody to hell? Does it have a hell plan for everybody? That's the belief of the ego thought system again. That's salvation. Oh, that came up too last night when I was meditating this morning. Really seeing through the desire for attack, the wanting of attack, and then feeling how that's the pull, that belief that it goes all the way through somehow, that salvation is in attack. That's really deep to look that deeply for here. just seeing it all the way through with Jesus to that trying to, that false belief in salvation through the desire for an experience of attack. You can ask him, Jesus, would that be helpful for me to look at with you? And just keep looking until he says we're done. Is there some belief in salvation? Any kind of pain, there's a belief in salvation in that. There's a desired experience to try to get salvation through pain. We can ask the divine light, is that true? And hear the answer. So he will not tread, because we're divine beings, he will not tread where he's uninvited. So it's like, I'm asking him. Well, I can just talk about the experience here, that it's like continual asking. Okay, what about, do I need to go another round on this? Is there still more down there, Jesus? It's like, okay. He says, yes, yes, okay. And then it's a yes. Is there, and go until he says that round's complete. Like nothing has more value for here than to go the full rounds with Jesus going, okay, show me that desire. What's that? And go drill as deep as possible. I'll go as many rounds as he tells me I need to go on the desire for experience of attack as salvation. He says, yes. That's where it's at. Desire for attack. And then the seeming way that the mind, and you can see it when you spend time with him, you may have already seen it, that the defense as well. So it seems to be, they are the same. He can tell us attack and sense, but you can actually have a feeling of how consciousness is playing those as two different things when they're really the same. As we start going down and say, okay, Jesus, show me where I want that experience of defense. Like, oh, I want it. Like that. Oh, just let it like fully. And then I just say, is there anything else? Show it, show me that defense. And just be with it. So helpful to let those energies, instead of being this contraction in which we're reflexively acting off of, and creating a little story mushroom rises up out of the dust, and this, and this is what's happening to me. He's just like, for me, it's like bringing it right into, okay, here's where that little cloud nucleus, the little mushroom cloud, is being formed. So it's like before the story can go, it's like right in the pocket of seeing, oh, this is really wanted. Really wanting to duke it out with the God. Really wanting to duke it out with God. And it's like we look at that in the contrast with divine light, and we see our power to look at these things instead of pinging off them and spending a day trying to. I remember that it's just spend days in the story. It's like it's becoming more and more immediate as divine power is accepted to look with Jesus directly. So helpful. And no story in it. Just the pure wanting, the pure desire to say no to infinite light. Can we see in those with whom he shares his glory all trace of sin and guilt? Can it be that we are not among them when he loves his son forever? Is there any belief we're not among the saved? Any desire for an experience of not being already saved? I'm willing to see it. The desire for experience, really, of not being saved, like that itch. Oh, Jesus, I want not to be saved. That because we see we're already saved. So if we're not, that's what's so glorious about this. Supreme happiness. That's the test. If I'm not supreme happiness, that means that Still duking it out with Jesus, with the Holy Spirit, kind of listening sometimes, but not all the time. And yeah, still having those things below the level of awareness to usurp the power of God, even though we see it's so ridiculous, it's so impossible to usurp the power of God. In the light of divine being, is it possible to usurp the power of God? Can we find a way for that to work at all? Not possible. Can't happen. He loves his son forever and with perfect constancy. The light love us with perfect constancy. Is the light constant, first of all, in our direct experience? So knowing that light is constant, we can see the power of it, the power of the strength to look directly. Because the only way we can know the light's constant is to be the light. Is there any other way to know that the light is constant other than to be it and the light of divine being and honesty of God? Is there any other way for us to know that the light is constant without being it? And hear the answer. Can't know that it's constant. Does the ego know the light's constant? No, the ego's made to try and deny that it's constant. So now we just look deep into the mind with Jesus. No place to go. Sit in a chair. Say, I'm not moving until Jesus tells me I can get up. And then I do search your mind. Search. That's what he's showing us how powerful. That's why he says teaching us to search our mind thing in each course lesson. You know, at first, okay, it's 5 minutes, and then you feel like you might blow up. So, you know, and then, all those distraction thoughts come that are so hilarious, as we talked about. Oh my gosh, I've got to drive across town to get that set and toenail clippers I really need right now. It's like, oh, I got to get that set. It becomes urgent. It's somewhere. Oh, God. Ow. That's how the mind. So that's why we have to ask Jesus, do I keep going? Or do I, so because he's gonna help us catch it. He's gonna catch us out. We're trying to not look so deeply, and we ask his help. Can you keep? I want that pair too. That's so often I see that happen. Such a good reminder for me. The toenail clippers of consciousness. It's all toenail clippers, and to see our value in the power, because it frees up more power. And I was saying this yesterday too, and I'll say it again because it's for me. It's like the more conviction comes with it too, the more we invest in looking with Jesus, seeing that we're light, and then looking with Jesus at where the light is denied, that like conviction comes up. Even if there might be like a little kerfuffle for a while, it's still conviction grows with each step with him. That's my experience anyway. Less likely to go for the toenail clipper thing, delusion, the delay, denial, off to the side. And it can be that we're not among them when he loves his son forever with perfect constancy, and know he is created. He is as he created him. In the light, can we see we're perfectly as we were created? Is there anything in that light that's saying, no, you're not perfect? Can't find it. Jesus, will you show me any doubt, thoughts, desire for the experience of not being perfect, constancy? I'm willing to look at it directly in the light of divine being with you. That itch for variability, to experience be tossed around in the storm of variability. Create the storm of variability and then just be tossed. Feel like we're being tossed like a piece of driftwood up on the shore, and then it shore pounds down on it, pulls us back out, to be helpless. Desire for helplessness. And remedies here, the glory of my Father's my own. In the light of divine being and honesty of God, is there a single thought that we can find in honesty of God that's more powerful than the glory of my Father is my own? We thank you, Father, for the light that shines forever in us, and we honor it because you share it with us. We are one, united in this light and one with you, at peace with all creation and ourselves. Are we one, united in this light, one with you, at peace with all creation and ourselves, in our direct experience? Father, I place any doubt thoughts in the light of the divine truth. And I ask you to help her remember this lesson, the glory of my Father's my own, and the abject power is that this thought of God carries in the mind. And that this is the only thought of importance to me. And to look directly with you at any desire to push this thought out of my mind. Any doubt that this thought is the only reality. Amen.